rattled today. This is not the typical platform that I use for streaming, so I'm looking all over the place. The system, the web page application that I use is not working today. So we are pivoting, your word of the year, and I'm just going live from my laptop, from my iPad, and so we're gonna wing it. I don't have the topics for the day. I can read those off to you in a second, but as I mentioned in the topic and the title, what I'm hoping to do today is talk about some sort of controversial topics which have come up in the last week. I'm not going to be able to repost your comments on the screen, so I've got some other devices here to help me out, so hopefully I can still see everything. Might be slightly delayed like it usually is, but we'll see how we go. Winging it. So topics for today, I'm going to talk about smoking in cruise ship casinos, whether or not that should be allowed, whether or not you should rat out smokers, and this is specifically on a cruise ship. I mean, at a resort in Mexico, where of course smoking is illegal on the resort, other than in designated smoking areas. You know, I guess if you want to be that person, you could, but that's not necessarily posing a safety threat. But on a cruise ship, obviously there is some concern about that. Then I want to talk about another story that's come up this week, and this was about somebody who went out to beat her record of consuming 27 shots in one day, and the consequent fallout from that. And I was kind of surprised when I heard the story, but then I Googled different YouTubers or different YouTube videos, and I actually saw that there was a few videos on this topic. So we're going to talk about that coming up, and then also talking about the different cruise ship drink packages and what they do and don't include. So that should be interesting. And then of course general travel talk. I don't know about you guys, but within the last week or so, like, my eyes are all puffy. It's allergy season is on full right now, it would appear. And it's still chilly, still chilly enough to need a sweater, but the pollen is happening, but of course this is Vancouver, Canada, so we've got, the tulips are coming up, the crocuses are already in bloom, the what are those trees called, the ones that are really pretty with the pink and white flowers, those are blooming. So yeah, pollen is welcome to hay fever season. So yeah, so anyways, talking about things that can be troubling. Smoking on a cruise ship casino, smoking on a cruise ship in the cruise ship casino. When you are, so is it Princess, I believe, has announced that they're going to stop allowing smoking in the casinos, but I don't know when this is going to happen. I mean, I cruised with them in October, and it was, a lot of people, they just went in there to smoke. They weren't even gambling. They were just standing there smoking. I mean, rather why go up to the smoking deck where it's windy, cold, rainy possibly, when you can just be inside. But unfortunately for those of us who are not smokers, it makes it not as pleasant of an experience. And especially anybody who's got, any kind of lung issues, emphysema, or prone to bronchitis, that kind of thing, it can be a problem. And then there's also the whole secondhand smoke thing. So what was interesting is there was a discussion about it, and actually a person in one of the Princess cruise ship Facebook groups, he is actually appealing to people to write to Princess and say enough. Like, give them, either change it, because they've got a smoking casino and they've got a tiny, tiny little non-smoking casino. Rather flip it, have the enclosed area be the smoking casino and have the open, larger one be the non-smoking casino. I'd be all up for that, 100%. Now, the problem is if you're in an enclosed area, I mean, surely they could vent it out, but nonetheless, it's going to be bad for anybody working in that environment. And that's part of the reason why in Canada, smoking indoors has been banned for many, many years. And it actually came about, they tried it different ways, but it actually finally came through as a result of a workman's compensation challenge, I guess, where employees were basically saying, look, this is potentially going to give me cancer, so we don't want to be around other people who are smoking. And so that's how the law is passed here in Canada, or at least initially. So there's an argument there for the cruise ship staff, whether you're a server or a dealer, not a drug dealer, of course, a card dealer, or a bartender working in the area. Anybody who's employed who has to be in that area, if they're going to be subject to smoke, then that could create problems for them. So my question to you, thumbs up, smoking it should just stay the way it is. It's not a big deal. And there is the non-smoking casino, so everybody has a chance to gamble and have fun. Or thumbs down, that they should change it and either remove smoking entirely from the indoor areas, or at least flip the casinos so that the smaller enclosed one is the one that allows smoking. I know that when we were on the, I don't even remember what ship we were. I think we were on the Discovery Princess in the fall, and the casino was open. And so as much as it was a designated smoking area, if you were sitting outside at the sushi restaurant, which was 20, 30 feet from the casino entrance, you were smelling smoke, cigarette smoke. If you were sitting at one of the nearby bars in that lobby area, again, you could smell the smoke. So it was a bit off-putting. Now, you might say, because a common argument is, well, the smokers are the ones who gamble the most. Well, if you didn't know, in Australia, if you have a cruise that's just departing from Australia, the smoking is not allowed in the casino at all. Interestingly enough, the routes haven't stopped. The departure ports haven't changed. And those ships are somehow remaining profitable. Still having people in the casinos, still people gambling. So perhaps it's a bit of a misnomer, and perhaps people who would normally avoid those areas because of the smoke are now going to check them out. Maybe go and throw $20 in a machine. Maybe you win, maybe you don't. But it kind of makes it interesting. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on that. Should smoking be allowed on the casino cruise ship or not? And I apologize because this is somewhat specific to cruising, and for those of you who are more all-inclusive or regular resort travelers, it doesn't really apply. Other than, I guess, do you think that resorts should be more restrictive and enforce the rules more? And we'll talk more about how that plays out with the staff and the ratings and all that kind of stuff when we get to our third topic, which is about the drinks in one day. But for now, another cruise topic is ratting out the smokers. If you're sitting on your balcony and you can smell somebody smoking, or you can see smoke from somebody who's smoking their cigarette on their cruise ship balcony, should you report them? And this kind of goes back and forth a lot in the cruise ship forums, and you hear a lot of the complaint of the day of, oh, Karens, mind your own business kind of thing. But the problem is, on a cruise ship, you are at sea in a boat, and there's a potential for fire. So you'll recall, those of you who are pretty much everybody who's watching this should be old enough. 2006, Star Princess caught fire. It's believed that a cigarette was left burning on a balcony. Either somebody popped in to grab another beer, or it fell, whatever. They didn't dispose of it properly. And it's always breezy on a cruise ship. And so the breeze caught it, and the cigarette blew into another cabin where it proceeded to catch fire to the ship. 100 cabins were destroyed. I don't have a picture of it. I had the picture ready to go on my other streaming device, but this is where we're at today. So we're just going to roll with it. 100 cabins were destroyed. 11 people were injured, and sadly, one person died as a result of the fire. So, and also it can be quite terrifying, because usually this stuff happens. It never happens in the middle of the day, when everybody's sober, when everybody's awake. It's just like hurricanes and tornadoes and storms. They all happen in the middle of the night. So, so people say they're afraid of the dark. There's reason to be, because bad stuff doesn't really happen during the day. Not often. Not as often. Anyways, so personally on that one, I'm absolutely 100% for it. I think if somebody is breaking the rules and potentially putting everybody else on the ship in danger, then yeah, I 100% would report them. I know it's very difficult to figure out sometimes where it's coming from, but I will also say that especially after that Royal Caribbean incident with the child, where the grandfather, the child fell from one of the decks. These ships have cameras everywhere. And part of that's also not just liability, but also safety, so that they know if something goes overboard or someone goes overboard, they can act as fast as possible and start doing rescue operations. So yeah, I think that's definitely a good one. Okay, so next topic, 27 drinks in one day. So where this started from is I read a pretty alarming story in a Facebook group. It wasn't a story, a report from somebody who said that they had just arrived at the resort, they got wasted, and they woke up in the middle of the night in a room. They didn't have any of their belongings. They didn't have any of the stuff. I guess they'd gotten drunk by the pool, so they didn't have any of their belongings with them. So no cell phone, no passport, no ID of any sort or fashion, no cash, no clothes, none of the rest of their belongings. And they were basically reaching out to people in the group who were ideally at the resort at that time to say, hey, help, this is what's happened, and can anybody help? Does anybody know where my stuff is? Has anybody seen it? And it was kind of scary. You sort of think, well, to me, I never think tainted alcohol, but there was some that will jump to that conclusion. I think somebody overdid it, somebody hadn't eaten enough during the day, somebody was in the sun, and that was also impacting their reasoning and their thinking structure on should they have another drink. But then there was some more that came out about the story, and apparently the person who did this is a YouTuber, and they were trying to beat their previous record of having, I think they were either trying to hit 26 shots in one day, or they were trying to beat their previous record of having 27 shots in one day. So within knowing that they're not going to go on a 24-hour schedule for this, 27 shots, every shot is at least an ounce of alcohol. So, and some of them are more than that, especially, let's be honest, at resorts, sometimes it's a bit of a free pour, right? So conservatively, let's say 30 ounces of alcohol, 30 ounces of hard liquor. I mean, this is basically putting you en route to alcohol poisoning. But also, like, I just think, oh my goodness, The hangover the next day would be tragic. But also, you know, where does the hotel come in on this one? Should the hotel be restricting them? Should the hotel be cutting them off? And some people, they just hit the wall, they hit the cliff, and they're wasted. Pretty much okay up until then, you know, kind of tipsy, you know, having fun, and then boom, they are gone. So yeah, sometimes that can be difficult to see it coming. But it's going to catch up, right? I mean, sooner or later, 30 ounces of hard liquor, it's not going to not have an impact, right? So then I thought, okay, in all honesty, yes, I did go looking for the video. I couldn't find it. I did find one about another fellow who was trying to do the same thing. Oops, where did my picture go? Come on. Okay. And he, again, you know, 27 pictures in one day. That's probably reversed, but you gotta get the idea. So yeah, if you Google that, you'll find the video. So I watched it, and the guy, so he started off with 2 Bloody Marys and a mimosa. And of course, okay, now in fairness, a mimosa, you're probably only getting about 2 ounces of the sparkling wine. And of course, wine's going to be a lower alcohol content than hard liquor. But in that video, his intent was to prove whether or not there was a limit on alcohol packages on cruise ships. And he was on Royal Caribbean. And so he started off, he ordered the 2 Bloody Marys, and then he got a mimosa. Then he ordered a couple of mixed drinks. And then fairly quickly he was into, I think he was just drinking like straight rum or whiskey or something. It was like amber liquid with an ice cube. And to me, I'm thinking, well, if you're really going for that as a record, maybe beer would be the way to go. Maybe a shandy, which of course is part beer and then topped off with ginger ale or 7-Up. Really nice and light and refreshing, especially on a hot cruise. Or clammy beer, mix Clamato with your beer to sort of temper it, to water it down a little bit. That's the route I would go if I was going to take on a challenge like that. But no, he was drinking the hard stuff right on through. I don't even think he cut it down to wine. I think he just stuck with the hard alcohol the whole time. And then he had a little, one of the drinks bounced, for lack of being a little bit more graphic. So fortunately he was in his cabin at that time. And so I think he had a little nap, and then he carried on, and he was continuing to try to meet this challenge. And his videographer was keeping track. And they did make it to 27 drinks during the day. But what was interesting, if you watch the video till the end, it wasn't as bad as it suggested. So this is where you have a little pull back the curtain, behind the scenes magic, where he didn't actually drink. He didn't completely consume all of those drinks. And I guess you could argue his intent was to prove that you could order more than a cap of, say, 15 drinks without being cut off. And so then if that's the case, yes, it's waste, but if you don't finish it, you're still proving the point that you could order to your room card more than 15 drinks. And he was successful in that. This is an interesting video though, so it may be worth checking it out. So to that end, next topic is talking about the unlimited or limited cruise ship drink packages. So if you like the idea of being able to, okay, Bojangles is saying maybe having trouble hearing. You know what, I'm not on my regular streaming service, and I stupidly started this without using a microphone. I can try that, see if that works, see if this connects or not. Can you hear me? I don't know. Let me know if you can hear me. I assume that is connected. Amanda says, Claire, hey Amanda, thanks for tuning in. We'll see if this helps at all, or maybe you can't hear me at all anymore, so let me know. Yeah, please, just if anybody can comment, say, does this help at all? I just put the earbud in, so hopefully maybe that improves the sound a little bit. Probably here then. Okay. It's probably me. Still gotcha. Okay, good. Thank you. Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, like I said, I'm streaming from my iPad today because the streaming system that I use is it's decided not to play today, so we're winging it. Christine, thank you for letting me know that you can hear me, but the volume's low. Next week we'll be back to normal, back to our regular programming with systems that work. Hopefully, if not, we're just going to bail on that other streaming system and go back to this stupidly expensive one. Anyways, going back to unlimited cruise ship drinks, a lot of you who maybe prefer the all-inclusive concept of vacationing, going to a resort, just being able to pitch up to the bar, have a drink, have 5 drinks, have 10 drinks, have 15 drinks. With cruise ships, because everything is tied to your key card, it's tracking it all the time. Now, when we were sailing on Explora, interestingly enough, because the drinks were included, there was no extra charge for drinks, there was no limit on them, and it wasn't tracked back to your cabin. So it was unlimited in that respect, and it was just generic. Like, nobody knew how much we'd had to drink, other than it was a very small ship. But by comparison, I've never been to a resort where there's been tracking of your consumption or restrictions on consumption, other than obviously if you're getting wasted, they're probably going to start to water down your drinks a little bit more, a little bit extra ice in the glass, that kind of thing. But with cruise ships, most of the cruise ships have limits. They only started having drink packages probably 10 years ago, and these were great, except a lot of them have restrictions on the quantity. So Disney, for example, Disney and Virgin, they don't have any drink packages whatsoever. Disney, kind of not too much of a surprise, being that it is very much a family-oriented cruise ship. So there's no drink packages available whatsoever. Virgin doesn't have drink packages per se, but they have a sort of bar tab concept where you can sometimes get credits, and I don't really understand how it works, and I've tried, so I really think I'm gonna have to suffer through a cruise. Tammy, are you in this with me? To figure out how this drink thing works. And I don't know, I mean, I know I've cruised before where our combined drink, our bar tab was, I think it was like $1,000. You know, we were having some nice drinks and whatever, you know, you're on holidays. But that was for 2 people. And, you know, of course that includes all the taxes and all the tips and all that kind of stuff. But by comparison, what would it be like on Virgin if you get this bar tab packagey drink thing? I don't know. Hey Angelo, how are you? So then let's talk about, there are some that are more restrictive. So out of the ones that do offer a drink package, Holland America is probably the most restrictive, because Holland America limits you to 15 drinks total. So, and I should say that there is one package where the 15 drinks includes non-alcoholic beverages, but for the basic drink package, that includes your non-alcoholic drinks too. So if you go and have a ginger ale or a coffee, well, I guess it would have to be a fancy coffee, but nonetheless, that takes 2 off of your list of 15. So that can add up pretty quickly. If you get the top package, like I said, it is still 15, but 15 with unlimited non-alcoholic drinks. Carnival and Princess, they have a maximum of 15 alcoholic drinks, but unlimited non-alcoholic drinks. Interestingly enough, with Princess, bottled water is included. With Norwegian, they actually don't have any limits on their drink package. However, so no limits on the drink package, but water is not included, bottled water, I should say. So if you bring your own travel mug, you're good to go. But I know when I sailed with them, which was just after COVID, they weren't allowing you to fill your water bottles at the water station because of potential cross-contamination. So, good in theory, but we ended up spending $30 or $40 on bottled water for the course of the week, because it is what it is. But yeah, with Norwegians, this is like, I'm just comparing the sort of mid-range cruise ships. Like, I'm not getting into Seabourn, I'm not getting into Viking Ocean cruises, or any of the upper tier cruises. This is just mainstream stuff that you and I and the non-fancy cruises. So Norwegian is the first one where we see the drink packages unlimited. So alcoholic, non-alcoholic drinks, no restrictions. You can drink 20 if you want. Royal Caribbean and Celebrity, also the same. So as I mentioned, the guy who did the video about could he actually order 27 or more drinks in a day, he was sailing on Royal Caribbean, and his whole thing was to check this. Like, would they cut him off? Would they limit him to 15 drinks? So Celebrity, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, if you want to go and get your drink on, those are the cruise ships for you. Princess, Carnival, restricted to 15, but you at least have unlimited non-alcoholic drinks available. And then Holland America, you got to watch your package, because if you just get the basic drink package, then any of your non-alcoholic drinks are part of that limit. So yeah, it could be a little bit tricky on that one. Okay, so that's all of my predetermined topics other than general travel talk. And there's a whole bunch in the news this week about political stuff, and I just can't be bothered to go there this week. Just don't want to deal with it. So despite the fact that our topic today was controversial travel topics, I'm avoiding another controversial topic, but that's okay. So general travel talk, I have a trip coming up, and here's an interesting idea, an interesting concept, and I question whether you would do this or not. I think we've talked about this before. I think Elizabeth, if you watch this on the replay, I think you said that you would allow your sister or your cousin to book a trip for you without you knowing where you were going in advance. And so talking with my husband about some future trips coming up, and I said, well, where do you want to go? Do you want to just do cheap and cheerful, which is Mexico, or do you want to do something a little bit more exotic? And he turned to me and said, well, why don't you just plan something and then just tell me what I need to pack? Oh, to me, this would be, I guess, the equivalent of going into a hairdresser and saying, style my hair however you like. Curl it, cut it, color it, you name it. And then just being able to oh, a fresh canvas, I like it. So I'm pretty excited about this and planning this. But would I conversely let him plan a trip without me being involved? And the answer to that is a hard no. No offense to him. But, that is part of my personality, is like, no, I need to know what's going on. And, yeah. So, but Tammy, I would, my best friend Tammy, we have traveled together so many times over the years, that, we have similar taste, and I have trusted her actually but she just tells me, this is what we're doing. It's okay, how much do I pay? But but I'm curious. Do you have somebody in your life who you would allow that to? Here's a controversial topic. Oh, of course now I can't read the stupid.
Oops. Okay. So Secrets, Tides, and Capcana are being very strict on the chair saving around the pool. And are you guys for it or against it? Okay, so you're saying, Angelo, that they are enforcing the chair restrictions, meaning if they say a 30-minute time limit, that after 30 minutes they're taking the stuff away and freeing up the chair. If so, as long as they're being upfront about it, and by that I'd say, do a not you always have to sign stuff when you check into a hotel, and it's all the fine print that says you're not going to destroy the property, you're not going to damage things, and if you do, you have to pay. You're not going to bring drugs on the property. You're not going to um, um, cause a ruckus or cause issues with other people. All this kind of stuff. And it's tiny, tiny, tiny font. But if in that, one of the things that they sign off is that you have to relinquish your chair if you're gone for 30 minutes. But I think that they also need to verbally state that and say, hey, so just a little heads up that that they would say, hey, we're enforcing this now. Like this is becoming a thing. So if that's the case, then I don't have a problem with it at all. In fact, I think giddy up. Christine is saying, yeah, she would love it. And Angela says they're taking things off the chairs if people throw them down and go away for breakfast or lunch for more than 30 minutes, collecting it and putting it in storage. Yeah, again, I have no problem with that. Posting it at the pool and by the towel pickup. You know what? And I think they need to sort of say this is a new rule, even though it's not a new rule, but to say it's new in as much as we're actually going to do this going forward. Again, I got no problem with it. I know when I'm in the pool, I'm always taking a look at it, at my stuff. Howard saying when we check in, we sign everything. I have no idea what's in it. You know what? My husband's like that too. I'm the person who reads the contracts, and it annoys our investment guy, whatever, because I'm the one who actually will read it. But it's interesting when you read it sometimes to see exactly what it says in there, especially for some of the hotels and the resorts. Like they're throwing some weird stuff. Um, yeah, and even like not not playing your own music. Again, the not bringing drugs or alcohol onto the resort property. Kind of seems like an obvious one, but yeah. Um, but yeah, if you don't know, you don't, you sign it and away you go. And honestly, the last thing you're thinking when you get on vacation, when you arrive on vacation, is, oh, let me read through all the rules and restrictions and make sure that I know exactly what the deal is. You're thinking, okay, has anybody brought me my welcome drink? And if not, then is it coming? And if not, then where's the nearest bar so I can go and get a drink and then go and unpack, get changed, go for a swim, start the vacation, right? So I get that. Um, but yeah, I think that's great, Angelo. I really do. What do you think? Are you for it or against it? I think we've talked about this on the channel before, and I think generally speaking, that a lot of people would like to see better enforcement, because it's some of the look, when I was at the Rue Palace Bavaro, there were I don't even know where I put it. I'd have to go back and find it. But when I looked to see how many um, chairs there were, where did I put it? No, I don't know where it is. I want to say there was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 600 chairs by the main pool areas at the Rio Palace Bavaro. So, I mean, there was tons of chairs, so it was really not a problem. And that was just at the pools. That's not including all the chairs that were at the beach. Angela says, I'm for it, even though I'm an early bird person, so I could get a chair easily. Yeah. But there are some people who go out before the sun is even up and grab a chair. Yeah, I know, and they grab a ton of chairs. I get that. If you're there with a group of people, you want to sit together. But when you know that you're a group of 8, so you save 8 chairs. Meanwhile, one person has decided they're going to go to the gym and work out and then have breakfast before they come out. Another person has decided they're going for a long walk on the beach. Another person has decided today is their activities day, so they're going out to the beach and they're going to go paddleboarding or kayaking or something. So now you've got 5 people with 8 chairs. Oh, and then let's throw in another thing. 2 of those other people, another couple decides they want to be on the beach, not at the pool. So now you've got 3 people holding 8 chairs. So, to that respect, I think there's got to be a better way with that. Maybe you have a section that is for large parties, and maybe they have group seating. I don't know. I mean, I know as a travel agent, when we would be doing site inspections all day long, and then we would have like, okay, we got 80 minutes between the finishing site inspections and having to go for dinner or go for another, like we've just switched hotels, so we've got to check in and drop our stuff and whatever. It's like, okay, everybody, you've never seen people move so fast. Go to the room, open up the case, nothing gets unpacked because you're only there for a day or two. Throw in the bathing suit, run out to the pool. Everybody chucks their stuff on one lounger or one bally bed, gets in the pool, has a drink or 2 or 5, and then we're out of there. So there'd be like 6 or 8 people using one bally bed or 6 or 8 people using one lounger, just a place to put your stuff, keep it dry, and then you're out of there at the end of it. So, yeah. Howard saying, I got hurt once falling, and everybody was saying I should have sued them. Pretty sure you sign off the ability to hold them responsible unless there's extra negligence. Yeah. And as much as, I'll say that the Rio resorts, I've been to a lot of them lately, and I do, um, they've really stepped up their game. But the one thing that I've noticed over the years is that they are the slipperiest resorts out there. I don't know why. It's the type of tile they use or something. And that's why I like this new style where resorts seem to be moving more to laminate in the room. So Hyatt Vivid, Angelo, Christine, you'll recall, um, it's laminate flooring instead of tile. So if you do happen to have a shower or the housekeeping's just been in and the door's been open and it's humid and wet in the room, or it's wet just because they just finished mopping, it's not as slippery. Whereas the roofs, by and large, have always used tile, other than the Rue Palace Paradise Island in the Bahamas, which actually had carpet on the floor. But they did the reno after the hurricane, and it's is it tile or laminate now? I don't recall. But certainly public areas, you can find that some of the tiles can be very, very slippery. So yeah, you do want to be careful of that. But to your point, Howard, yeah, I think you absolutely, that's in the fine print, that you didn't read. That I'm sure it says that you basically release them from any liability, especially in the event that you are overserved or what have you. Because again, like I said, some people, they just hit the wall and then um, and you just can't see it coming. But yeah, I hopefully it wasn't a serious injury or anything. I hope you're okay. I don't know how recent that was. Um, but yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, I know like for the Hyatt Ziva Puerto Vallarta, they used to do a hike up to the falls. There's a falls nearby. I mean, sort of go up the hill. It's built into the hillside. It's a very pretty resort. Um, but on the way up to the waterfalls, somebody tripped at some point because you're going on a hike, and they tripped or something, and they either hurt themselves or they got bitten by some insect or something like that, and they did sue, and so then they didn't offer that trip anymore. So, yeah, I mean, it's just liability issue can get a bit much. Howard saying the cheer game is awful. We were at Ocean Coral in Turquesa once, and the people were at 5 a.m. with flashlights. Are you serious? That's a bit much, honestly. Um, Angelo said, yeah, it was the vinyl planks. Yeah. Yeah, they were quite nice. Remember, was it there? No, I think it was somewhere else where they were still a little bit loose. They hadn't quite been snug together as best as they could have been. Um, Howard said, "I slipped the pool at Bahia Principe. The edge is slippery tile. Oh no, really hurt. Seems really dumb. Hurt my knee and hit my head. Oh dear. Yeah, you got to watch out for that because it's not like there's soft surfaces out there. Um, and there was a tragic story about a guy who um, one of my colleagues, she had gone out to the beach and she cut her foot on a shell, right in the arch of the foot. So she needed a bunch of stitches. Fortunately, she had insurance because it would have cost her, I think, $5,000 or $6,000 otherwise between the hotel doctor, the ambulance ride to the hospital, and then the stitches and band aids. I think all of that was going to cost like 5 or 6 grand, but insurance covered it all. But when they were at the hospital, there was somebody else who was there who was staying at a hotel, a Rio hotel, and maybe had a few too many drinks or whatever. Maybe had the balcony door or the patio door open. And again, if you open up the door while the air conditioning's on, it's going to have condensation. It's so humid, it's going to become slippery. And also, look, most of them are designed that once you open the door, the air conditioner automatically goes off. But I mean, those things are in use 365 days a year. And how often are they serviced? How often do people report if they're not working properly? It's not like they go in and check them once a week or something. So, these things happen. But yeah, he fell, and it was one of those like a junior suite room where used to be you'd have this sort of bed and the main area was upper. You'd have a step down again, and then that's where there was a couch, and I think that's where the TV was and access to the balcony. And I guess he slipped and fell there and he hit his head. And I think he was in a coma or something. So my colleagues actually helped his wife set up a GoFundMe because he was having problems with the insurance and blah 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 blah. But so hopefully he's okay. But yeah, I mean, this stuff can happen at any time, and it's not like you plan for it. I'm gonna fall today. No, I mean, it happens, right? Um, and sometimes it's not even alcohol related to anything. It's just things are slippery. You're in a different room where you're not used to where things are, and things happen. Uh, Angelo is saying, "And the room at the Vivid, the planks are still loose and moved around." Yeah. Um, well, hopefully they'll be better when you get there next month. I think it is. Yeah, next month. Howard says, carried on all week, limping around, but had no idea I had a brain bleed. Oh my God. Got home, went back to work, and one day after a month, I couldn't walk. Are you serious? Like, I hope you fully recovered from that. I hope you're okay. But I mean, that just goes to show you, like, really, it's worth taking the half a day to go to the hospital and get it checked out. You don't mess. It's easy for me to say, reading the story now. What I would actually do if it happened to me, I don't know. But good reminder that we should probably take the time, go to the hospital, get an X-ray or whatever they do, brain scan. I was operating heavy equipment. They told me I had a brain bleed, and the bouncing in the equipment made it start bleeding again. Well, like I said, I hope you've recovered from that now. I hope it's fine. But that's pretty scary. Oh, okay, good, good. Good to hear you're okay now. But yeah, it's unexpected stuff like that. And I mean, and that's the interesting one too, is if this is if you're injured from something that originated from vacation, would you be covered for time off work? Interesting one. And then would your insurance cover you on that one? I don't know. Um, so yeah, I suppose probably better to take half a day out of your vacation and get yourself fixed, or sorted out at least, and then yeah, go back to the usual stuff. Um, had no idea if there was anything wrong at the time. Well, that's a tricky one too. Me and our bodies are pretty tricky little characters, aren't they? If they're not giving you, if your body is not sending you any signals that something's wrong, how would you know? I mean, until they sort of do the Star Trek body scan things, um, we're all a bit hooped, aren't we? But hopefully the technology comes along and eventually we get there. But yeah. So thank you for sharing that story, Howard, and thank you for bringing up the topic, Angelo, about the chair saving. Interesting to know. So you said that was Secrets the Tides and Secrets Cap Cana that are enforcing it. So that's good to know. We'll see what other resorts pick up this trend so far this year, but who knows? I did want to say that changing subject, as I am wont to do. Uh, was it last year or the year before? The mango, especially the spicy mango margarita, was the drink of the year. This year, whether you like it or not, the drink of 2025, I'm predicting, will be a cucumber mint drink, like a mojito, but with cucumber in it. And it's actually very light and refreshing. I had one of these on the cruise ship, the Explorer, and it's very light and refreshing. It was a mocktail. I asked them to add vodka into it. Um, and I've since seen Kettle One is a vodka from Germany, maybe somewhere in Europe. And they have botanical infused vodkas, and one of them is cucumber mint. So it's just starting to pop up all over the place, and I'm predicting that to be the drink of the year. So we shall see. Amanda is saying Secrets Akamal has enforced it for years. Okay, that's good to know. Secrets Huatulco, not so much. I haven't been to the Secrets Huatulco, but I can tell you that in 2022, I think it was, that we went to Huatulco. The Dreams Huatulco. I mean, again, people were up. The towel cart didn't open until 7:30, and by 7:30 there was maybe one or two chairs left. And they weren't by the nice pool. They were by the sort of tennis court shaped pool. It's not great. Angelo says he loves cucumber mint drinks, very refreshing. Yeah, I agree. In fact, I just bought some fresh mint yesterday, and I've got some cucumbers, so I'm gonna whip that together with a little soda, tonic or soda, and yeah, it's gonna be my drink. Um, Howard says we were at Catalonia Maroma. Oh, nice. Had a guy going around taking pictures of reserved chairs not being used. He gave it about an hour, then removed the items. Oh, yeah, fair enough. I mean, if you're not there, you're not there. And that's part of the thing that irritates me personally, because I'm one of these people who's like, after 2 hours of being at a resort, being by the pool or something, like unless I'm in and out of the pool, and unless I'm, you know, chatting with a bunch of people, which I usually do, um, but but otherwise I just get bored. Like I can't sit there for 2 hours and read or whatever. It's like, okay, gotta go do something now. Um, so yeah, so for me, if I get out there at 9 o'clock and there's no chairs at all, probably I'm gonna have accumulated. If I could have a chair, I would probably sit, have my 2 hours of sun, and be ready to go for a walk or something, or do something by the time that person's even come to use their chair. So to me, I find that like it's not cool. Maybe they should have a thing, a little flag that you could say morning person, afternoon person, all day person. I don't know. Howard saying cucumber gin Caesars. Oh, yeah, somebody was mentioning that the other day. Or cucumber Caesar, cucumber Caesar, yeah. Yeah, cucumber Caesar. Actually, no, I haven't tried that. That would be good. You must be Canadian. I can't remember where you're from. Um, but yeah, somebody mentioned that the other day, having a gin Caesar. I've had one with tequila before. I've also had one with Grey Goose vodka. To me, that seemed like kind of a waste of premium vodka, but whatever. Um, but yeah, those are all quite nice drinks. And I've got a jar of olives with the pit in my fridge, so maybe that'll be my happy hour drink today. Um, because it's got to have olives, right? But do you prefer with olives that are pitted or well, okay, so it's option 1, olives that are pitted, B, olives that are stuffed with, like, garlic or something, or C, olives with the pit in? Ah, Hamilton. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Um, Personally, I go with either stuffed with jalapeno or something, or not, well, not necessarily jalapeno. I like it stuffed with garlic, or just with the pit in. I think it's more interesting. Makes a fun drink. Yeah. So, thanks for toughing it out with me today. It wasn't the best feed because of the sound and all that kind of stuff, but hopefully we'll be back up and running on the regular platform next week, and we can do a proper show with the visuals. And hopefully the sound will be better as well. Thank you for tuning in today, and thanks for all your comments and chats and suggestions. Um, and contributions. It's always fun to hear what you guys have to say and your thoughts, and especially the drink ideas. I like that. Cucumber vodka Caesar. um, oh, it did. Yeah, that's what I figured. You know what? My iPad is an older one, like old. And I should have just known that the sound would have been rubbish without having the earbuds in. So yeah, good to know. Stuffed olives and a big fat shrimp. Yeah, for sure. On Princess, they had a Caesar making station. They would do Caesars or Bloody Marys, and there was like 8 things to include. It was bacon, cheese, pickled onions, shrimp, and olives, obviously, celery, and I forget what else. So it was pretty cool. I will say though that hands down, the best Caesar I've ever had was on a Holland America cruise ship going up to Alaska. Only on the upper deck, the outdoor deck. Inside they were okay, but on the outdoor deck, it was the full on. I don't think there was pepperoni, but there was shrimp and cheese, and it was just amazing. But if you, for those of you who are watching from the States, if you haven't tried one or been here, in Canada, we like to get a bit silly with our drinks, and it's not uncommon to have 3 or 4 different versions of Caesars. So, and if you don't like Caesars, if you don't like the Clamato juice, you could always ask for it as a Bloody Mary. But they get quite creative with the toppings. It's not just a stick of celery or pickled asparagus. Okay, so the ranges of topics of items that could be included in a Caesar: uh, pickled asparagus, pickled onions, bacon, pepperoni, cheese, cheeseburgers, chicken wings, sliders, um, olives, obviously, probably the most boring component, potentially. Um, I think that's the craziest I've seen or heard of. I know one of the restaurants that we like to go to, shout out to Sammy J's, they have one that's a grilled cheese Caesar. And it's nothing short of nuts. It's like 4 sort of triangle size grilled cheese sandwiches, melted gooey cheese everywhere on a stick in the drink. So yeah, it's making my mouth water. I'm very hungry. So, anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up. So thanks again for tuning in with me today, and thanks for letting me know that the sound quality was bad, Bojangles. Otherwise, y'all have been still suffering. So yeah, hopefully everything's working again next week, and we'll go from there. Um, And then, yeah, I'll as soon as I know what the, oh, pickled beans. Yes, yes, yes. How could I miss that? Of course. Angela's saying, have a great day. Amanda says, look up Floyd's Diner in Victoria. They have a crazy Caesar. I will definitely check that out. Cool. All right. Well, thanks again for tuning in. And you guys have yourself a great rest of your day, great weekend, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Oh, and before you go, be sure to hit that like button before you leave. All right. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you next time.